Hello, good evening or morning, wherever you may be. I'm Snowy Croquet, and I thought I would talk a little bit about a subject that I would truly appreciate you guys bearing with me on, and I appreciate you guys for watching from the get-go. Now, some enjoy very pseudoscientific hobbies and passions, such as cryptozoology or ufology, etc. Some might consider a profound truth within reading tarot cards, or even the epic vastness of religion that some folks may believe down in their hearts to have some true meaning to it. And some of us believe in, so to say, the proof in the pudding of religion. Yet I am not necessarily relying mainly on belief to support a quite profound study in one thing that may or may not pique your interest. It is called astrology. Yes, can you believe it? I'm into astrology. Not doing a smoking or music video this evening, but astrology, zodiac signs. There was a story I have to tell you guys on Yahoo Answers. If you remember Yahoo Answers, I'm not sure if it's still around nowadays, but there was a time period where I would ask questions on like, what is Capricorn's favorite thing to do, or fun stuff like that. And I would have this one fellow who was like French or something, because he had like a French name, or it might have been a gal, whoever. And they were like, wow, I'm really annoyed by your posts. Just don't post this. Astrology's not real. And I would ask in different forums, and they would just dog on me, copying and pasting the same response. Astrology's not real. It's all nonsense. It's all in your head, which kind of hurt me a little bit. Now, this video is much more for the more stalwart followers in astrology. One really enjoyable aspect in zodiac signs is guessing people's zodiac sign. I think that's very fun. Have you ever once kindly, politely assumed someone's zodiac sign? Comment below. This is like a fun party trick that I like to do. For the majority of times, you might be guessing incorrectly or correctly, but it's fun. If you get really good at astrology and you do believe it deep down in your heart, then you might be able to be like, I think you're a Pisces, or I think you're a so-and-so. Don't be too ashamed. I've tried and failed at least several times. I was at a party one time, like a small get-together, and I was with this fellow, and he's like, he's just chatting along with me, with my friend Nick and a couple other buddies. This was some years ago, and I was kind of buzzed, and he was like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, oh, I enjoy guessing people's zodiac signs. Not to weird you out, but I think it'd be really funny if I guessed your zodiac sign automatically. And he's like, go for it, buddy, have at it. Because usually that's everyone's response, like, go for it. See if you're right. Maybe you're right. Because, at least in the very least, everyone knows their own zodiac sign. They might look into it a little bit. They might not. Anyway, I was talking to this fellow. I think his name was like Brandon or something. Anyway, we'll call him Brandon. And I'm like, ooh, you seem like a so-and-so, or you seem like a cardinal sign, like an Aries or a Libra. And he's like, you're actually on the money almost with the cardinal sign thing, which made me really happy. And he's like, I'm actually a Cancer, so he said he can look into people's like souls and kind of like feel them intuitively, because he's a Cancer. And I'm like, okay, so you're a Cancer. What can you identify about my personality? And he said something that sticks with me to this very day. He said, Garrett, you definitely are too strict with yourself. You are so strict with yourself that you don't know how to follow the rules of society. And I'm like, wow, that kind of sounds like an Aquarius thing, LOL. Got my notes here. Yet in all honesty, with my assumption, what determines your sign, your exact house, your rising sign, your fifth house, etc., the element that you're placed in by birth, what you fall under isn't necessarily per se entirely determined by what exact minute or hour or especially the day you were born per se. I have this theory that I think a lot of other amateur or professional astrologers might believe in, that the precise time you were conceived, it's weird, I know, the time you were conceived and your own growth in like your mama's womb would build your character. Because, I mean, look at it this way. Say you're birthed into the world. Some astrologers may or may not believe that that time that you take your first breath of natural fresh air in the hospital or wherever determines what your life will be like. That kind of is a basis of astrology, because astrology is based on destiny, I believe, and measuring out the planets, measuring out your Arabic parts, your destiny, so to say. But if you think about it more scientifically, in a sense, it makes more sensibility to look at like how your brain is grown in during your period when you are still in your mother's womb, and that develops your psychology. They say that the 12th house is, I've read once or twice a very interesting fact about the 12th house. It is the house somewhat of your subconscious nightmares, so to say. And the dreams that you experience when you're in the womb, in your mom's womb, and what kind of person you'll be based on your insecurities. And that develops, like, of course, when we are experiencing like adolescence, our teen years, our early adulthood in our early 20s, that definitely shapes us very heavily as well in our lifestyles and who we become as we grow older. I'm 30 now, and I think that I've definitely changed at least somewhat, but I'm definitely still the same person DNA-wise as I was in 1994 when I was born. And the subconscious nightmares that accrue when we are developing in the womb are more or less what shapes our phobias, our love, the kind of people that we're attracted to emotionally, like even in terms of brotherhood and sisterhood. Astrology tends to occasionally be a slightly shaded or taboo area in discussion, I believe, at least from what I can tell. But if you're really into it, I am positive you might be capable of determining psychological traits in others and the people around you. Your core, like family or friends group, you've known them for ages. Astrology is a really profound thing to discover, because if you do believe in it, then you find this array of things and ways to categorize humans, not necessarily categorize in a negative aspect, but just it's a very keen way of looking at the world, I believe. I have a really good friend, I'll call him Smith. Smith is a Leo. He told me that he was born, I think, like late July or early August, which we all know, that's a Leo for you. That person has a very kind of prominence to them. Leo is a fixed sign, and it's the fixed fire sign, if you didn't know already. And people who are like that tend to be great performers, very successful musicians and actors. A lot of really famous actors are Leos. I think Chris Hemsworth is a Leo, for instance. There's a whole bunch of them. Hulk Hogan, he's a Leo. It's a good one. In a more negative way, I was watching a documentary with my wife this evening about Benito Mussolini, and I looked him up. He turns out to be a Leo as well, which to me isn't ultra surprising at all. It's not that surprising. He was an evil dictator, and of course, Leos usually are very nice, sweethearted people, but Benito had a great kind of demeanor about him when he was presenting his speeches to fascist Italy. And he definitely knew how to kind of sway the public with his personal image. On another note, I think Leos are very fascinating to me as an Aquarius myself, because I think that their minds being fixed, you're supposed to have a more or less closed mind to the world, and not necessarily being more of an independent thinker, but it's just the way we fixed signs are, I guess you could say. But I definitely could see that in my friend Smith. And I definitely could see that in a variety of other fixed signs. Now, obviously, the huge majority of all the academic community probably shuns astrology somewhat, or kind of like winks at it like, oh, okay, you astrologers have fun. We're not going to find any proof in the pudding for you. I'm sure people have guaranteed tried to prove astrology before, which is probably a very difficult task. And really, it's just based on intuition. If you're going to believe it, you're going to believe it. If not, if not. I'm going to end this video by listing two of my current favorite zodiac signs. One of them is Cancer. Now, I know a famous Cancer that I Googled was Anthony Bourdain. He was born in late June. So he's definitely a Cancer from what I can tell. And even by assuming, you can kind of tell he had this quirky kind of Cancerian, melancholy, almost somber demeanor about him. But you can tell he definitely had a certain strength to him, which I really appreciated. His life ended dramatically in 2018, but shout out to Anthony Bourdain in heaven. Great individual. I would have loved to try his cooking, and I would have loved to visit his restaurant when he was still around on Earth. My second favorite zodiac sign at the moment is Virgo. Now, I joke with my friends, oh, I need more Virgos in my life, you know, which don't we all, the classic perfectionist that is the Virgo community, LOL. But one Virgo that really stands out to me is Keanu Reeves. Now, when I was taking notes earlier, I was like, wow, what's his name? I almost called him Joaquin Phoenix, but no, Keanu Reeves. I confused the two because they have such unique names, both of them. He definitely has a very 12th house personality, doesn't like being in the limelight too much, but does a great job with it nonetheless, with his own unique kind of in his own world sensibility. And he also has Saturn in Pisces in his placement in his chart. He was born, I believe, like 1964, 65, or 66. If you were born in any of those years, there was a period, I think, from late 1964 through 1965 until like mid to early 1966, when Saturn was transiting the zodiac sign in the constellation of Pisces. And people in that category are supposed to be a little bit more, I hate to say this, and it's not my favorite way of looking at it, but they're supposed to be more misanthropic and a little bit more private lifestyles, you know, and have like a kind of erratic, weird behavior due to their own personal sensitivity in life, which kind of makes sense because if you look at it, Saturn is supposed to be the planet that represents our fears, that we're supposed to face in life, that help us build ourselves and make ourselves stronger. And Saturn transiting Pisces means that you might have an overall sensitivity and fear in your entire demeanor. It's hard to think about right now for me. I'd have to double Google it. But yeah, go you, all zodiac signs rock. I just thought I'd do this quick video. Thank you guys for watching. You're awesome. I'm Snowy Croquet.